Where the hell is the fight from the players, the managers, the staff? The only fight there seems to be at the moment is between the fans on Twitter. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to your in-depth analysis for Aston Villa 2. Nottingham Forest 0, yet again, another defeat to talk about. Yet again, nearly 9 or 10 games now without a win. I'm losing count. Leeds being the last time we picked up 3 points. And here we are again, having to go through the same drivel. You could just copy and paste a lot of the previous in-depth videos. But the thing that's standing out at the moment is the lack of fight, the lack of desire. Have their heads dropped? Have the players given up? Has the management given up? Does this not need a new spark to get us back on track? We'll get into all of this. We're going to have a look at the average positions. We'll have a look at some heat maps. We'll have a look at the goals and some other bits and bobs. Before we do all that, as always, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV. Can I start by saying a massive, massive thank you to all of you for supporting us through everything and getting us over 10k. Thank you comes from myself, from Dino, from Ez, from Anne, from all the FFTV family. We thank you so much for getting us over 10k. You guys are amazing. All right, let's get into this and let's start by looking at some average positions. All right, so there's a few things to cover off before we go to the nitty gritty of it all. Obviously, as we all know, Steve Cooper set up with a 3-5-1-1 or a 3-5-2 or whatever permutation of it you want to call it. That's what he set up with. And I was completely against it. Didn't like it because for me, on the outset, looking at it, it showed that Cooper didn't want to win the match. I don't care what anyone says to me. That team he put out there wasn't one set up to win a match. It was a team that was set up not to lose and try and get a 0-0 out of it. Now, I get it, Villa are flying. But my issue with what happened on the weekend was that Villa weren't playing well. Most Villa fans will probably, at least tell you if they take their Villa goggles off, that wasn't their best performance. And if anything, the game plan needed to change. Steve Cooper needed to smell a bit of blood and change it and go to a plan B. But as I've been saying all season, there is no plan B. There's only a reactive plan. There's no proactive plan. He only tends to change it if we get injuries or if we go a goal behind or something like that. Then he starts just chucking whatever attacking looking players seem to be near him on the bench. And it's just not cohesive enough. I didn't mind that he actually changed to a back three in certain aspects, because at least he was stopping the whole, the old definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again. Well, at least he tried a little change. But was it the right change? For me, it was a negative change. And that's been my issue with Cooper's tactics all season long. Everything is done in a negative permutation. And it's just grinding me down. But anyway, that's the formation. That's how we set up. I probably would say 70 to 80% of the fan base, at the very least, raised an eyebrow when they saw that setup. But having said that, the first half performance was good. I use the word very loosely, because we're starved of good football. And when we get a performance where we've gone in at 0-0, then we can talk about it being good. So it's in relation and relative to what we've seen in the season so far. And that, for me, I still think this is a Premier League team. It's just being coached by championship management, from Cooper to Reedy to Tatey to all the other people involved. None of them have Premier League experience before. And that's my big concern with it. But anyway, let's go in and talk about how they set up. Now, the first thing that I noticed here was, there was a couple of things I did notice. I want to talk about Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson here playing down the middle. We lose that element of width in the team. Usually you'd find Brennan Johnson's average position in and around that area there. So straight away, what you found was that Morgan Gibbs-White was picking up the gap left by Brennan Johnson here on the right-hand side and drifting out. And I think he was becoming less effective in that position than usually, where you would want your cam to be playing in the middle of the park, pulling the strings, etc. And then the other thing you notice is this whole Danilo playing as the highest of the midfield three, or whatever you want to call it, four. And I think he's a great player. I love him. I think we've been the ones screaming out for him to be starting from weeks ago. But he is not he shouldn't be your furthest line of attack in terms of a midfielder, because he can't shoot. And we saw examples of that again at the weekend, and we'll probably show a couple of them when we bring up the video stuff. The other thing is the imbalance. Because we've gone back to this back three formation, straight away what happens is it almost becomes go back to what you're used to. And you can see completely down this left-hand side, there's no presence at all anywhere there. Because as always, we tend to shove our attack down that right-hand side. We lost that balance. We had that balance, sorry. We gained it when Dennis was playing over here. Number 25, Dennis. It gave us width. So what did this mean? It meant that Villa didn't really need to concentrate anything on this area of the pitch. And as long as they played the middle and their left-hand side, then they were going to be absolutely fine. I can keep going. The other thing I've noticed here, if you look at Shelvey, Shelvey's playing further to the right-hand side. The difference between him and Freuler is when Freuler plays, he tends to drop in between the centre-backs or somewhere in and around this channel. And I'll show you when I bring on where Freuler was playing. Because what happens is Niakate playing on the left-hand side of three, even in a four, he naturally drifts out further to the left. That's why you need that CDM to play in between and in that line in between and not be dragged out to the right-hand side. Then you had Kyoto there. Okay, he got injured. And then you get this bunching up. Now, obviously, it's an average position. They're not standing on top of each other the whole game. But you'd kind of actually say that the right-hand side was looking better positionally-wise with Worrell and Nico Williams. And that's why I felt both of them had a better game than normal, because they were playing the positions correctly. Now, I've always believed Worrell's better, and I use the term again loosely, in a back four than a back five. But it seems to me he probably had one of his best games this season, playing it in a back three/back five. And it's the same with Nico Williams. And you can see that naturally the position in Nico Williams for a right wing back was correct. But if you look at Tuffalo, I would have liked him about here as well to just create that balance. And then Nico Williams and then Niakate, could have been doing the Worrell role in behind him. Now, yes, you can say that Villa were attacking down this left-hand side, probably pushing our left-hand side back. That's one thing. But it's just not quite balanced, and you can see there's a lot of space here. Again, remember, this is average positions. So really, I didn't like it because normally I think Jono is more effective down this channel here. I think MG Dub is better around here in the middle. And then I don't know where Danilo should be. I feel like Danilo should be kind of more up and down, playing between the two boxes rather than getting into the two boxes, if that makes sense. So that was the setup. Then we obviously go and make our substitutions, and it just looks a little silly when it does happen. So let me bring that up for you guys here. Now you can see what I mean by Freuler. Freuler ends up, I've put them side by side so you can compare. So you got Freuler here, number 23. And then you got Shelvey here as well, the number 6. You can see Freuler played it a lot better in terms of he was playing that middle channel, able to drop in between the midfielders. And then it just goes and underlines even more that when the substitutions came on, you got Awonyi there, and Mangala was playing there. I actually like Mangala's position there. Again, why wasn't he playing to start with? This whole fatigue thing, I'm not buying it. But you can see, again, very lopsided down this right-hand channel for us, and absolutely nothing down this left-hand channel. Again, another of my criticisms towards Cooper's tactics and setups is he's playing with half a pitch, man. You've got to stretch the opposition out. You've got to have options on the left and the right, the middle, forward, back, etc. It's too right-sided. And when you look at IU coming on, he almost turned into another left back. Now, granted, Niakate had to go off injured. We were playing with 10 men, etc. It's just messy, guys. It really is. The one constant, and go back on all the other videos, is this absolute brick wall here, Felipe. His average position across all games is, you could literally copy and paste it onto each map, and it's almost would be on top of each other every single time. That's a sign of a class player who can play the game in front of him to a position. He dictates his position. He dictates where he needs to be. He is, I was going to say a level above. He's levels above the rest of this squad by miles. You can see he's someone who's been trained by a world-class defensive manager in Diego Simeone. And it shows. It shows he's got the experience. He's got the know-how. He's got the physicality. He's pretty much got everything you would want in a defender and a man bun. I mean, what more could you ask for? But overall, I just didn't like this shape at all. Look, I think against Man United, he's definitely going to go back to this shape because he's going to have seen some success. He'll just say that the loss was down to Shelvey. I think it's more than that, but we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, that's the average positions. Let me know what you think about it. All right, so let's get into the heat maps, which you guys seem to absolutely love. So we'll do what you guys want. So this is the heat map. Again, you can see Villa very comfortable. They didn't really penetrate our box, to be honest, with massive touches. You can see hardly any of the dark area here in our box, which just shows you that the loss was actually down to mistakes more than anything. But they're very comfortable. They, 628 to 382. They had, 40% more touches than our team. But do you see what I mean when I was saying to you guys? Again, the focus is on the right-hand side. And yes, again, we were very weak in their half. I mean, this whole area here is very limited on touches. It's really poor, man. And again, it just underlines the fact that we were there to draw the game at best. And that's what infuriates me. And then secondly, it just underlines it down this left-hand side. There's very little penetration down it whatsoever. In fact, if we go and look at Tuffalo's heat map, who is our furthest left player, you can see he never got into the final third at all, apart from the odd touch, probably from a corner or something there. But you can see most of his work was done down that left-hand side. So overall, that heat map in itself, I mean, I could just leave that there for you guys and it paints the whole picture, to be honest. But there's a few things that we do need to notice on. If we have a look, I want to start with MGW. And again, off the average player rate positions, this is what I was saying to you guys. Because Jono was put as a striker, and Jono's brilliant, but I don't think he's a striker. He's definitely a right-sided winger or a right-sided forward, whatever you want to call that kind of player. And because Jono was operating more centrally, it forced Morgan Gibbs-White out to the right-hand side, where his actual hottest part of the heat map was near the goddamn corner flag. Now, don't get me started on his actual corners. They were atrocious. They have been all season. He can't clear the first man. It's infuriating. He needs to be taken off corners. We have a world-class corner taker in our midst, and we're not even putting him on the bench at the moment because he's injured in Scarpa. But outside of him, Nico Williams can probably take a corner. Tuffalo can probably take a corner. I'd probably put Shelvey on corners if you're going to start Shelvey. Actually, Morgan Gibbs-White would probably be more productive in the box than taking the corners. But yeah, that's the discussion. Well, we've discussed it plenty of times. It doesn't look like it's going to change unless, of course, Cooper, if you're watching this, get him off corners, man. So you can see, because Jono was playing down the right, let me show you where Jono was playing here. Very limited touches in the whole game for Jono. 9. That's it. Couple on the halfway line, couple here randomly on the left because he went to the left-hand side in the second half, and a couple out there. No real significant touches in their box. This one little grazing area here was, I think, a shot. Did he have? I can't even remember. Did we even have a shot? Who knows? But you can see it's very haphazard, and there's no real link-up, and let's overlay Morgan Gibbs-White on that. These were our two attacking players in the pitch. Now, the third person that was joining into the attack was Danilo, and he was playing as the most advanced midfielder. Again, no real penetration into the box either. There's a lack of penetration in this team, full stop. Comes from what? The negative tactics of Cooper to just low block the hell out of the other team, bore them to death if you can, and maybe catch them on a counter attack. Let's just quickly look at the centre back. So you can see Felipe with 42 touches, predominantly coming across further to the right though on his touches. Why? Because Worrell was playing like a right back with his touches, as you can see there. bit too far to the right for me, but in a 3-back, it's kind of okay. And if you look at Williams, he was actually pushing into the opposition's half. In fact, he had quite a few touches. If you look at it, 51. So a lot of the attack was on his shoulders, and that's why it probably looked like he was one of the better players on the team on Saturday. And then if you look at Niakate, again, he was covering down this left-hand side. So overlay all the 3 centre-backs, and it's a bit all over the place for me in terms of the way they're covering. Now, were we leaky? Not really, because we had so many bodies in there. You could bring in Kyoto's heat map. You can bring in, who's the other one? Oh, where's Shelvey? There he is, Shelvey, all over the place a bit as well. It was just a bit messy. But what Villa's problem was there was just too many bodies in the way for them to sustain any attacks. And that was the problem with them. To the extent that I think Villa would have settled for a 0-0 because they just got bored. But then cometh the hour, cometh the man, cometh the Shelvey. Okay, we got to start by really assessing the goal and just how poor it was, man. How poor it was. You can see here the shape of the team's not too bad. You got your back 5 in line. You've got Nico Williams at the top. You got Worrell just there in the top right of your picture, and then you got the 2 centre backs who are off screen. This is Freuler here just behind my chair, and he's ushering for Tuffalo to cover. Now what happens is the ball's going to get played over the top by Ashley Young in a second. So as the ball comes over here, let's just pause that. You can see that even though Freuler had told Tuffalo where to go, Tuffalo had no clue, and he had left the Villa, I think it's Traore here just behind my, of course it's behind my chair, completely free. So he's oblivious to the guy in behind him, and the ball goes in over the top of him, and now he is in absolute acres of space. You can see you can't see, but across the line you got Tuffalo. You've actually got the back 5 in a decent-ish line, covering it okay. Positionally wise now, they're not too bad to deal with the mistake from Tuffalo and come through. And then by the time he's brought it down now, Tuffalo's recovered here. And again, it's the tackling is just poor. It's too late. It's too late. The ball goes across. And mistake number 1 is going to happen now. And that's from Navas. This is back-to-back mistakes he's done of parrying the ball into the box. And it's just so poor. He just parries it there. It didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen. But the thing is, it's going to come right now to Shelvey, and I'm just going to pause it just as he's already made his mind up. Now, let me try and defend him for a second. In his mind, he's got his back to the wrong way, as in the clearance way is that way. So he's looking at it here thinking, I need to lay this off to Niakate, who can then punt it forward. The problem is you don't take that risk. Like, you even train, I hate using my under 12s as examples, man, but we always tell them, like, if you're going to never pass it across your own goal line, never pass it across the box. If it's a keeper taking a goal kick because they're still young, go for a wing. Never hit it down the middle, just in case, as a young kid, they're going to shank it or hit a poor one. And like, you don't, this is fundamentals that are trained into kids from the age of 5 all the way up to professional. In fact, it doesn't even get mentioned anymore at professional level. The safest thing for him to do here is just punt it for a corner. Just for a corner, everyone can regroup and carry on. Or, to be honest, he can hook it out for a throw-in down this way, down here. So what does he do? He's trying to be over glamorous with what he's doing. So you can see is he's going to lay it off here to Niakate. And Niakate is thinking, what the hell? He's completely flat-footed by this. Traore is already on the move behind Niakate, so Niakate is not even aware of where he is. And he's just going to come onto it. It's the most perfect assist, man. It's good to see Shelvey's finally got himself an assist in a Forest shirt. And he's just going to lay it right in. Then Niakate wakes up. He realizes that Traore is in behind him. And just look at the corridor he's got to hit it. It's like every player has lined up perfectly for him to have the easiest slotted finish into the far post, and bang, in she goes. Now this is what Shelvey should watch. Forget his mistake, forget everything else. This for me it tells you you're pretty stupid for what you've done. I'm sorry to use the word stupid, but it is just sheer stupidity. Let's play it and just watch Worrell's reaction, man. If Worrell is the one who is reacting to a mistake when he is the king of mistakes this season, you know you've messed up big time. You know that you've boo-booed the crap out of this, man. The fact that Worrell is the one who is the one reacting, and Shelvey's still there putting his hands down, talking like, what the hell? Again, that's another sign of a lack of responsibility. He knows he's made the mistake. And what is he trying to do? He's trying to pass the buck of blame onto Niakate. Don't know why. Just clear the damn ball, man. It's the fundamentals of football. It's not hard. This is so painful to watch. But for me, it's just schoolboy. I put it on Navas for palming it out into the middle, and then Shelvey for not punting it. And had he done that, the game probably, I still think Villa would have won it. They were only playing in second gear, in my opinion. But they may have got frustrated. We may have been able to counter-attack. We may have been able to get something out of it. But as soon as that goal went in, might as well have blown the full-time whistle. We're not getting back into that. Heads dropped. And it's just an absolute crap show. I mean, look at Worrell. He's reacting like, oh my God, someone's done something that stupid on the pitch. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Okay, I do want some signs of positivity. I don't know why. Let's just try it anyway. And I want to show the difference when the team was pressing. Now, this was before the goal. This is while their heads were still up. This is when they were working quite hard on the pitch. I just want to show you stuff that we haven't seen a lot of this season. And this is just an example of pressing and how pressing turns into a chance, especially when you're pressing the opposition in their own half. So the ball breaks around here and you can see, bang, Nico Williams is gone. Now, firstly, someone has to coach him out of this crouch down position that he runs in. I think he still thinks he's in Wales and is playing rugby at PE or something. He's always in that crouch down position like he's about to rugby tackle someone. I don't like it because it puts him off balance. But anyway, that's not the point of it. That's just a side story to it. As he comes down, he's pressed. He's forced the defender to release the ball early. And what's happened here is that you're going to see that Morgan Gibbs-White now, he's pressing Douglas Luiz. And Douglas Luiz now is forced into trying to lay off the ball because Morgan Gibbs-White is touched tight to him. He loses the ball. There's the mistake. Why? Because there's pressing. There's pressing. We haven't seen this all season, and we saw little glimmers of it in this match. Anyway, he's pressed the ball, and then bang, now you're into the transition higher up in the opponent's half. They're at sixes and sevens. They're not organized. Douglas Luiz is out of position. Their defenders were starting to come out and everything, and now we can counter-attack. Morgan Gibbs-White plays a nice ball into Nico. Nico's crosses, he's just, again, here behind me. His crosses were a lot better this match, in my opinion. Ball comes in. You've got to expect here in this position, if you look at it, Johnson has to get across his man and make sure he gets there first, man. He's got to put his body in between the defender and himself and just show the desire to get to the goal, or get to the ball to score the goal. And then, of course, our long-range shooting is just absolutely woeful. But there are signs there, and these are the things that I've been screaming out for all season, that if we were implementing a higher press into the opponent's half, they will create mistakes like that. And that's one of the reasons, if you're going to play a counter-attacking system like Cooper's insisting on, you have to counter-attack. Start it with the attackers pressing high, and mistakes will happen. I don't know why he's so against it. Most of the time what you'll see is the attackers retreating towards the halfway line. To be honest, most of this match you saw that as well. But there was few elements where they actually pressed, and we got the turnover and created a chance. Now, do that 4 or 5 more times, you create 4 or 5 more half chances. Maybe one of those turns into a goal. But he just doesn't want to do it. I want to touch on Danilo again and why I think he's going to be an absolutely fantastic player for us. But as we said in the last video, he can't shoot. And he's very good at winning the ball up high in the pitch, but he's got to then have some runners in front of him who he can release into the attack, who can do, the fancy Hollywood, the headline shooting, etc., and get the goals. But look here, he's going to win the ball up really high in the pitch. And bang, yes, it does bobble a bit, but he does break through. Now he's got to look up. This is the stage here. He's got to thread this ball through into Jono's path. Jono's going to absolutely outdo them on pace. He's got to thread it through and not to Tuffalo, who's down the left. He's got to play to the striker. Doesn't. He carries on here and then he shoots, and his shots are so timid and so weak. Look, this is still because he's young. He's going to develop and he's going to understand when the right pass is to play, and hopefully his shooting's going to improve as well. But what I love about him is how high he wins the ball up the pitch, even in a team that isn't pressing that much. But what the other players have to do as well is react to it. When he's won the ball, they've got to make the run in. All of this comes in time. But we haven't got time right now, and that's the worry. Okay, let's show you an exact, again, similar chance with Danilo, just to show you the good and the ugly and how he is developing, but he's still not quite there. Look at this. Nico Williams is going to put a great tackle in. Now, Danilo's on the halfway line. He's going to react first. Love this about him, and he's going to get there first. He's got those long, lanky legs that he can put it in there. So, bang, off he goes with the ball. Now he needs to look up. Awoniyi's making the run. Now, Awoniyi needs to go inside in between the defenders. Instead, he goes outside and he makes it easier for Konsa, whatever his name is, to mark him. He should have gone inside. But either way, I don't think Danilo would have played the ball for it through to him. But these are opportunities that are happening. They're being created by how good Danilo is at picking the ball up. But someone's got to coach him the next step on when to release. And as I was just mentioning a few seconds ago, and the runners have to make the correct run in for there. So watch what happens. Now Awoniyi's got himself stuck. There's no real ball that Danilo can put in there because he's gone the wrong side of the man. Danilo then shoots, and yeah, the less said, the better on it. But it's getting there. He's a player that I'm really liking. I'm seeing a lot of positive signs. I feel he's having a really good impact on the game. But there has to be players around him. And there has to be leaders on the pitch who are training the young kids, who are saying to him, pass the ball there. Once you've picked it up, look for this run. Don't shoot. Literally say to him, don't shoot. Forrest Gump style. Stop. Forrest, stop. But he probably was one of the better players on the pitch for me. All right, let's have a quick look at the Villa goal. It's just a crap show of mistakes as per normal. And what you're going to see, they're having so much joy with this ball down the right-hand side. And that's why when I showed you the heat map, I feel that Tuffalo was sitting a lot deeper because Ashley Young and the other midfielders on that side were pushing us down this right-hand side. And the ball's going to come again over into that channel. Now, this is just too easy, man. This is just way too easy. He's just going to turn Tuffalo, absolutely do him, and pass it into Watkins. Now, it is the last minute of the game. We are down to 10 men, etc. But the gaps are all over the place, and Watkins just going to have the freedom of the park to run in. Felipe's there. Can't do much about it. Watkins jinks out again, lays the ball off. There's just no press. Nico Williams is too far from him. Once he gets close to him, there's a nice easy gap. Look at that channel. All the players have gone with one. There's two players in the box, man. Freaking mark him. And what you're going to see is Tuffalo's going to realize that he's free. He's going to panic and lunge in. Let me just quickly show you that. There's the lunge from Tuffalo. Completely misses the ball. It's a bad attempt at a challenge. Then you're going to see next line of defense is going to panic. It's going to be Navas coming out to close it. And he's just going to dink it over him. Because everyone's just in panic mode, and in she goes, and that is game, set, and match. And that's Forest into the relegation zone, and god damn it, is it getting infuriating right now. There's just no fight, man. There's signs and there's grains of things you can hold on to, a bit more pressing, you can see a bit more solidness in the defense, but we can't interlock the two things. If Cooper goes all out defense, like low block of the low block of the low block, then we got nothing up front. Our XG for that game was like 0.24. It's so pathetically bad. It's embarrassing, man. Which tells you it's solid low block football. And there's got to be a stage. And well, it's running out. The time is running out. But you can't win a football match by low blocking your way and then hoping you get one counter attack. There has to be more of a plan to it. There has to be more of a plan that when you go behind, you don't just look across on your left-hand side and see who's on the bench and just go eeny, meeny, miny, mo and chuck them on. You can't keep chucking IU on. He's not really producing goals. He's not producing chances. Maybe he's holding the ball up. That's okay. But in a time where we need goals, you need people getting forward. But there's just no cohesion in the passing either, guys. It's just infuriating to watch the lack of ability to string 3 or 4 passes together. The one time I've seen us do that this season was against Man City, and we scored a masterful goal. So it's within the players to do it. Look, do you blame the players for this? Do you blame the manager for this? Or do you blame both? Look, it's up to you. It's up to you. If you blame the players, there'll be people who go at you saying, why are you not blaming the managers? If you blame the manager, there'll be people saying, why are you blaming the manager and not the players? It's just all very divisive at the moment, but it's all opinions. It's all opinions. If you think this is Cooper's fault, fine. If you think this is the player's fault, fine. Let me know down in the comments below. What I'll say to you is that collectively it's not good enough. If you want to blame Cooper, the players, management, whatever, it's not good enough. And on this trajectory, deal with the realities and the facts. Forest are going down. Unless something changes, Forest are getting relegated. Because the trajectory, lack of points, the lack of cohesion, the lack of ability to attack is all pointing towards one thing, and that's an R by our name. The fixtures aren't in our favour. Nothing's in our favour. But we can still do it because it's 3 wins. Yes, some of you will say that's 50% of all the wins we've had this season. I say I don't care. I refuse to put that R by Forest's name until they put it there for us. Because I have to believe, even if Cooper stays, because I don't think Marinakis is going to pull the trigger. I think he should, but I don't think he will. But even if Cooper stays, he has to see what's happening on the pitch, and he can't be happy with it. In fact, both him and Marinakis can't be happy with it. And how can you put your name next to that type of football? He is better than that. And the players are Premier League players. As I mentioned on the stream the other day, 12 of these went off to international. 8 of them were playing in the World Cup, or 12 of them were playing in the World Cup that wear the Forest badge. They've played in the Champions League before. We've got players who have Premier League medals. Yeah, in the comments, let me know who's got the Premier League medal in our team. Be interested who knows that one. So don't tell me there isn't Premier League qualities and credentials in there. The team is good enough. The players are good enough, but as a team, they are woeful, especially away from home. Look, I don't want to depress you guys. I don't, but I can only present to you what's on the pitch, and that's what's on the pitch. If you want to take that negatively or positively or whatever you want to do, that's up to you. But those are the facts that are on the pitch. And it just needs to be a wake-up call that this team needs to pull their damn finger out, believe in themselves, and play football. Pass the ball. Go back to the basics, man. Pass to an open man. Make an overlapping run. Cross the ball in. Attack the ball. Close the players down from the front. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. When we had Gary Mills on, he told us they never looked at our position in Cloughie's day. It was, give it to Robbo. If he crosses it in, you need to be here. You need to be here. These are your positions. You damn well make sure you're in that position and he will find you. If everyone knows what they should be doing, you don't get the calamity like we just saw with that second goal. You don't get the stupid mistakes like we saw with Shelvey. You just get people who are trained and understand exactly what their roles and responsibilities should be. And we have not got that currently. Get your thoughts in down below, guys. Please do like the video if you haven't already on your way out. If you're new to Forest Fan TV, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to become a member, there are plenty of member perks and streams coming up shortly as well. It's only 99p. You get all the emojis and everything else that goes with it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope in a way you've enjoyed it. Maybe it's pointed out a few things you didn't notice in the game. I don't know. Look, I'm no expert, but this is just my opinion on it. You guys are welcome to agree or disagree with it as per always. We'll catch you on Beat the Drop tonight. Don't miss that 8 p.m. At least there's other teams who are suffering just as badly as we are. Come on, you Reds.